What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through a new draft revolving around the Spurs' new signing, Dom Solanke. So yes, we're heading straight into a draft with this new striker, as I believe he could be an absolute game changer for our drafts. Now, is he at the point of being essential? I'll be going through all those talking points at the start of the video, and then building a team around him that I think looks actually pretty strong. So in the comments down below, is Dom Solanke going straight into your team, or is it a wait and see for you? So we are narrowly approaching that Friday deadline. Please guys, put it in your calendar. You can put my notifications on for Twitter or YouTube, as I'll be doing a deadline stream about 1 hour before the deadline, so at least that can be your reminder. But it's time to get hyped. It feels like our drafts are normalizing to an average. It's kind of ironing out those final positions, and could Dom Solanke be the key? So if you guys want to see my draft around Dom Solanke, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So the first thing to note is going to be the money in the bank. A common occurrence through all my drafts is 0.0 in the bank. I've yet to come upon a draft I like with money in the bank, to be honest. Now I'll be going through this draft as I have with the previous videos, going over the levels of importance. So the first player I'm going to put on screen isn't the most expensive striker like usual. It's actually our cheapest striker, and that's Dom Solanke at 7.5 million. So if you guys are a little bit behind the news, Spurs signed Dom Solanke yesterday officially, but this has been happening throughout the past couple weeks, and he was signed for about 65 million pounds. Now a lot of speculation about will he start game week 1. All I will say though is that Spurs play on Monday. That's the last game of game week 1, and Ange came out in his press conference and said that he should be fine to start. The reason for this is obviously Dom Solanke has had a full preseason with Bournemouth, but the one concern I had was he missed the last Bournemouth preseason game due to apparent foot minor injury. I'm not going to cause panic there, it was a very small injury apparently in training, but now that we know the news that he signed for Spurs, maybe they were just kind of keeping him injury free. So do I believe Dom Solanke could start game week 1? Yes, I believe that he's in contention. The Spurs manager has shown that he's not kind of afraid to throw these new signings in, and therefore Dom Solanke has a great chance. Now you do kind of want him to start game week 1 because they are playing a Leicester side that just conceded 3 goals in their last preseason game, and Dayvy don't look the best defensively. With Richarlison out injured, he is back in training though currently. I think Dom Solanke's got a good chance of playing game week 1, which as mentioned, you kind of want him to do that. Now at his price point, 7.5 million, slightly higher than the kind of template of a 6.0 budget striker, so you kind of have to find 1.5 somewhere else in your team. Now in terms of the kind of season projections, I think Dom Solanke is going to be a great option. I think Spurs have been kind of trying to find this Harry Kane type striker, and I think Dom Solanke fits that mold better than someone like a Richarlison or a Kulusevski and even a Heung-min Son. So great potential. If he hits the ground running, I think his ownership is just going to skyrocket. Just think about it, if you're going to go for Son for a more increased price tag, if Solanke is the nailed striker, he comes in a bit cheaper. Now one of the things people have been saying is, will Solanke be on penalties? I just want to clarify that Spurs don't win a lot of penalties anyways, but he could have a chance as he has a higher success rate than someone like a Son. But unfortunately, you probably won't know this before that game week 1 deadline, but even without penalties, 7.5 is a fine price tag. So I asked this in the introduction, but is Dom Solanke straight into your current draft? For my own team, he's not, and I'll show you that draft tomorrow. So I think he's a great option. Don't you know what it's going to take to bring him into my own draft? But let's build a team around him. So I'm actually going to complete our forward line because in my opinion, the forwards are very kind of template at the moment. The first one's Erling Haaland at 15.0 million. Even though Man City didn't have the greatest showing in the Community Shield yesterday, I still backed them to do well at the start of the season. So for me, Solanke being in doesn't really affect my kind of having Erling Haaland, and I was even looking to captain him for game week 1. Then the second option is going to be Isaac, another player that I believe is worth his price tag, and Newcastle have been looking really strong in preseason. The only slight negative towards Isaac is unfortunately he got a penalty in their last preseason game and he went and missed it. The keeper made a great save for it, but you always want to kind of get your confidence up in these preseason games, as now there are doubts about him taking penalties in the Premier League. But still, at his price point, I believe it's worth it. His stats just look great per 90 minutes. Now the front line might look quite expensive, but I managed to fit in my favorite Egyptian Mo Salah. Even though he comes in at 12.5 million, if you're going to captain him game week 1, I think he's worth it. Now all eyes on those Liverpool preseason games coming up. Quite annoying that they are playing 2 though, but let's hope the first one against Sevilla is the starting 11 for Game Week 1. I don't have any concerns though about Mo Salah's starting position though. I believe that he's kind of nailed in that starting lineup, even though it is a new manager. So yes, that extra kind of 1.5 for Solanke over someone like a Muniz or a Wood hasn't come from Mo Salah, but Saka's a very easy replacement if you guys don't want to replace other positions. Now I'm going to go over the majority of our midfield department because I believe at these price points it's pretty nailed. The first player Eze at 7.0. Now with the concerns about Anthony Gordon potentially starting Game Week 1, he played 45 minutes yesterday, so he should be okay, but I'd rather save the 0.5 and just go for a nailed option like Eze. So this week we did have some rumours of potentially Wilfried Zaha signing back for Crystal Palace, which probably would have taken penalties away from Eze. That transfer has fallen through though, and therefore he should be on penalties still, and overall just a great talisman at the cheaper price point. Now Mateta unfortunately lost the Olympic final a few days ago, and as far as I know he should be fine for Game Week 1 and start for Crystal Palace. You guys can decide if that's better or worse. I think it's actually better. You want almost a focal man up front that takes attention away from the defense and leaves more space for Eze out wide. So he's gone nowhere since my first draft. I think he's great value at this price point. Same for Nkunku at 6.5 million. So I saw a funny tweet over on Twitter. It's basically like the FPL community is ignoring Cole Palmer, as I've seen him in basically no one's drafts at the moment. So that could be because Nkunku is so much cheaper, but let's see what happens over the opening few game weeks. From Game Week 2 onwards, those Chelsea fixtures are simply outstanding. But these two options make it quite easy to fit a Dom Solanke in your team. They come in quite cheap. We're spreading the value quite a lot here, and I still managed to get a premium defender. So you guys know over the past few days, I'm preferring Guardiola to someone like a Gabriel. I just back the Man City fixtures slightly more than the Arsenal ones, and I'll try to look for my Arsenal coverage from Game Week 6 onwards. So Guardiola had a pretty good game yesterday, still playing quite attacking. Would have loved a clean sheet though to show that they're more defensively secure. Now I'm going to jump back to the midfield department, and the reason for this is that if you guys know I was looking at a Leon Bailey for Aston Villa, but he was benched yesterday in their last preseason friendly. So Ramsey's back, Rodgers is also back playing out wide, so that makes me slightly concerned about Leon Bailey's minutes. Even if he does start, I'm worried that he gets subbed around the 60-minute mark. You want to try and get your attackers to play the majority of minutes. So in that 6.5 bracket, there's not many players I've actually looked at, and that's why I've gone for a 5.5, and that's Smith Rowe from Fulham. So scored in the last preseason friendly for Fulham, which was great to see, and also played a good amount of minutes. So between him and Andreas, it might be quite close, but I'm currently preferring Smith Rowe, as there have been some transfer rumours with Andreas. So maybe I'll find a 6.5 that looks better, then I could drop one of my defenders, but at the moment at 5.5, he looks pretty strong. So now let's go over our bench and our defense, starting off with the 4.5 goalkeeper. I switched it up here, haven't gone for Flecken, I've gone for Sells, as there's been a lot of hype about Nottingham Forest goalkeepers. Now the biggest concern if you are to go for Sells is they've just signed a new goalkeeper. There could be some rotation here, but it seems like he's locked down that spot for the moment. So at 4.5 million, it's kind of going for him, going for Flecken or going for Henderson, and I don't want to double up on that Crystal Palace defense. So you guys know all about the Nottingham Forest fixtures. The first three look simply outstanding, including Bournemouth at home against a Dom Solanke-less Bournemouth. So I just wanted to give you guys some clarity on who starts for Nottingham Forest at the start of the season. Just have caution though about potential rotation. Now unfortunately, where we found the value for Dom Solanke comes from a Trent Alexander-Arnold downgrade, which might not even be that bad, as I don't even know if Trent starts Game Week 1. That's kind of my biggest concern. I want him to start against Ipswich. All eyes today though on those Liverpool friendlies, because if he gets the majority of minutes, he will look quite strong. I just think there's no reason for kind of Slot to start him and play him the full game, as Connor Bradley's had a full preseason. He's also looked pretty strong, still loves to get forward, and therefore Bradley could actually start the season. So the option I've gone for is actually Pedro Porro. Now I know Spurs can't defend at the moment, conceding a few to Bayern Munich, but just remember, you own Pedro Porro for the attacking returns, not the defensive ones. Now you guys can go for a 4.5 here, upgrade Smith Rowe to a 6.5, but I do like his attacking threat over the opening fixtures. So yes, we've gone from 0 Spurs to having 2 Spurs, and you guys will see shortly I've actually tripled up on them. Now Anderson, my favorite 4.5, comes in here to complete the starting 11, and I don't have to say much about him because I've spoken about him through the entire preseason. So he's kind of the reason I don't want to go for Henderson between the sticks, not too keen on the double up, but Crystal Palace ended the season quite well. Now we do have some bench coverage here, so if you guys need to find a 0.5, you can go for a Budko, but I've gone for Konza at the more expensive price tag. Now interestingly enough, there was actually a 4.0 that started at right back yesterday, so he could be a gem if he continues to start. The Konza played centre back where you probably wouldn't want him, prefer the fullback position, but he's always more defensive. So those Aston Villa fixtures do look pretty strong and therefore I want a slice of at least that fixture run, but as mentioned you can downgrade this if you want to. Now final bench fodder options, I've changed my 4.5 from Winks to Bergville. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Now he is definitely more of a punt at the moment. I'm not saying he's going to start every game at 4.5 million, but he came on and scored yesterday for Spurs. A lot of Spurs fans have also been saying that he looks pretty strong, might even be looking better than Maddison at the moment. So why not just go for him at 4.5 million? Then Harwood Bellis has been my 4.0 at the moment, not much in it though. He's just a nice bench option. But this bench and the starting 11 comes in with 0.0 in the bank but Dom Solanke up front. Let me know what you guys think about it and could there be any improvements. One improvement I'll mention, if you guys don't want Mo Salah, you can downgrade him to Saka. That gives you quite a bit of money to play with the bank, about 2.5 million, and then you can upgrade Pedro Porro to someone like a Trent Alexander-Arnold. You then still have 1.0 left in the bank and therefore can do Smith Rowe to someone like a Bailey if you want to, or afford a more expensive defender. So that Salah to Saka move is something that I'm contemplating at the current moment, as it does make your squad more balanced. But at the moment I'm going to keep Mo Salah because he seems like he's more popular than Saka and therefore more relatable, but you guys can change this team to suit your desires. But as mentioned, Dom Solanke isn't in my current draft at the moment. I'll be releasing my final draft tomorrow, so make sure those bonifications are turned on, as you guys don't want to miss this one. But let me know your Dom Solanke drafts in the comments down below. Also, as mentioned, is he straight into your lineup, or is it a wait and see for you? But this is basically a wrap for the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you didn't subscribe if you have subscribed yet. Tons of content coming up, so make sure those bonifications are turned on. But for the time being, I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.